folks, it's Swank Ivy with another Letters to an Asexual. This is number 104. I'm pretty tired today, so I'm going to give you a nice short one, and after I finish reading it, I will subject you to some of my stream of consciousness ramblings about whatever strikes me. So I'm not going to put a bunch of planning into this one because we're just going to get the rambly Swank Ivy in the middle of the night here. So before I go on with the letter, I would like to say a belated Happy Pride Month to those who celebrate. I finished during Pride Month reading this excellent book about refusing compulsory sexuality, as the title says. Subtitle, A Black Asexual Lens on Our Sex-Obsessed Culture by Sherronda J. Brown. And I found this to be super excellent. Yeah, I recommend it wholeheartedly to anyone who wants to read about both like historical perspectives on asexuality that you may not have considered, and stuff about how white supremacy and colonialism has built the society that we have today, that includes a lot of expectations about our sex lives that are tied to those prejudices that more strongly affect some of the, especially Black, but also other people of color across the ace spectrum. So I really think it's an extremely valuable perspective, and I'm super glad I read it. So yeah, other than that, for Pride Month, I don't go to parades in general, but I live in Florida, which, if you've been paying attention to the news in the United States, especially about Florida, it's gotten kind of dangerous here to be queer, and seeing a lot of rollbacks of our rights and awareness materials, and a lot of attacks on just basic education and unmolested existence for queer people. So it's gotten very scary, and my city canceled its Pride so that we wouldn't risk, I guess, running afoul of whatever the laws are right now regarding drag bans and whatnot. Florida is just ground zero for especially trans-related, but all stripes of queer hatred. And earlier this month, I went to a trans town hall, actually put on by a couple of trans people who have been doing activism for legal education, and one of them was a lawyer. And they talked about the laws and how they affect people, what they actually do, what they don't do, what we're doing to fight back, and took a lot of questions about resources and perspectives on how we can stay safe, and how people who are cis like me but want to be helpful and be an ally to the trans community can throw our weight in behind the efforts to roll back some of these bigoted laws. Anyway, before I get too angry and distracted about all of the terribleness that has happened, I am going to share my letter, which is why you're here. So, let's see. This is a message that I received on YouTube, one of my videos. I don't remember which video it was shared on, but it was a good 10 years ago. And this person opened with this: I have a girlfriend that I love, and I'm only attracted to her. So, when I go to work and run errands, I can relate with an asexual. However, by organizing and going public seem to be a money grab. or playing hard to get to the extreme, rejecting others before you're rejected. Perhaps this situation could happen. An asexual meets another asexual and their common interest brings them together into a relationship. Personally, I blame antidepressant drugs, not getting filtered at water purification plants, and the additive of fluoride. Well, that sure is a mess of ignorance, isn't it? My response: ha ha, wow, a money grab? Or a play for attention? Some people will suggest anything to avoid accepting other people's experiences. For the record, in the 20 years that I have been educating people about my orientation, I have made exactly $0 and given countless hours of my time and energy. I also take zero pleasure in anyone chasing me when I say leave me alone. So the "that's just hard to get" idea makes you sound pretty confused. You should stop speaking without thinking. And clarification, since you know that this was a good decade ago, I have since technically made money on being asexual, haven't I? I sold a book, so. Sometimes people tease me about being a professional asexual to suggest that I'm trying to make money off of my orientation, just like this person, although at the time I had not made any money, or to make a condescending comment, or just to make my perspective and my orientation and my activism look like it's not authentic, that it's really just about trying to make a buck. But people should in general be rewarded monetarily, if possible, with some kind of compensation, right, for the work that they put into the world. I don't know why it's specifically just asexuality in this situation, or marginalized populations in general, that are held to this standard that they shouldn't expect any kind of compensation for any of the work that they do, or any of the resources they provide, or any of the time that they spend trying to help other people in the community. It's kind of a thankless job sometimes when you have to be knee-deep in this kind of ignorance all the time. And, you know, it's nice that if you spend some time and effort on making a product that you put out into the world, that's something like a book, or in some other people's cases, a course, or a video series, or a TikTok channel, you know, that people can actually be compensated for some of their efforts. And it doesn't mean that you're doing this for money. It means that in a just world you would be compensated for your work. And I mean, that's not necessarily why we do it, but it's nice to have, and it also enables us to focus more of our attention and our resources on trying to spread our message and give more help to more people. And I think that it's very tempting for these people who want to undermine our position to make it seem like this is just about us trying to make money rather than a genuine attempt to help people like us. You do see a lot of people who, you know, go to work every day and nobody says to them, wow, I can't believe that you go to your work every day and work at your desk job and all you want to do is make money. You're not trying to work at your engineering firm because you have a true love of building infrastructure, or that if you are working at a construction company that it's not something that you do purely out of the goodness of your heart of wanting people to have roads. It's just like, that isn't a standard that's applied to people that we respect or that we feel we need. So it all comes back to, they think that this isn't respectable or needed. So we kind of see right through them, right? Anyway, the person came back one more time to reply to what I said. And they said, Swank Ivy, I wasn't saying you personally are profiting. However, I bet someone is profiting from your sexual orientation, t-shirts, workshops, and donations. For me, it's not the choice of not having sex that's unique. It's that you wanting to everyone to know. How does broadcasting your sexual preference to the world fit into your hierarchy of needs? If someone thinks everyone is attracted to that person, could that be narcissistic? Well, I suppose whatever floats your boat, smiley face. I replied, so if anyone makes awareness materials, it's for profit, not for the inherent benefit that people like us receive from people learning to understand we're here and not lying, sick, or in need of being fixed by sex with them. Asexuality also isn't the choice of not having sex. It's not being sexually attracted to anyone. So, your attempt to make education efforts look silly and narcissistic just provided more evidence that people actually are pretty ignorant about it. That was the end of the conversation. I guess the person did not feel the need to keep coming back and saying more poorly organized, harassing things to me, trying to undermine everything that I do and make it for a nefarious purpose. But, I mean, besides the money grab stuff that I said, this person apparently thinks that if I think something deserves attention, it means that I need to be shamed for, you just want attention for yourself, you're feeding on attention. And you know, if you've watched this far in my videos, that some of my other videos have addressed the you just want attention comment. Look, it's a cookie cat cup. I have cookie cat right there. Steven Universe logo. It is 1 a.m. and I am drinking coffee, but this is decaf, so yum. So, I guess point 1 here, if I make awareness materials and I tell people about something that I think is really important and that I think even if you're not an asexual person, I think that this information is important for you to have a comprehensive understanding of how sex works and have a complete sexual education, then you need to know asexual people are here and are part of your world. So it's not selfish and it's not about me wanting eyes on me, right? I genuinely want people to be able to have this information, so it really is a stinky little butt kind of thing to say to suggest that I'm just broadcasting my sexual orientation, that I must want everybody to know how I function in the bedroom, or don't, as the case may be. That it's some kind of narcissism or some kind of obsession with thinking that I am so much more important than anybody else, or that attention to what I feel and think is, that I think it's more warranted than it actually is. But the person is making it very clear that they don't think that my perspective is relevant to theirs, and so here they are, wandering into my comments to tell me that. So, hey, if you want to take your own advice, why do we need to broadcast those kinds of opinions? I mean, if you don't personally find it very interesting or relevant to your life, then why do we need to know that? Why are you in my comments? Is it narcissism? Let's see, what else? That the person relates to me because when they go to work and run errands, they can relate to being asexual. Okay, you know, it's fine if someone relates to us but isn't us. That's great. It doesn't mean that because you only are experiencing sexual attraction to your partner right now, that you know what it's like to be ace. That's, you know, being a non-ace person does not mean that you are horny and or actively being sexually attracted to someone at all times. That is not what we're trying to say we think happens to everyone else. It's very silly. Let's see. Oh, the bit about how I must be trying to reject others before I'm rejected. Well, we've heard that one before, haven't we? I'm preemptively declaring to the world, I don't want no man, so yeah, it's just, I'm actually so lonely and I can't get anybody. It's just so tired, isn't it? I guess that's fitting because I'm very tired right now. Oh yes! I would be remiss if I didn't address this hilarious bit. Blaming antidepressant drugs not getting filtered at the water purification plants and the additive of fluoride. So on top of all of the ignorance about what asexuality is and the ulterior motives that activists like me must have in wanting everyone to know, it's also that we're being poisoned or that we're being influenced by chemicals. It's something in the water. That's kind of a new one, isn't it? But it's definitely not new overall for people to try to come up with some kind of ridiculous, completely untested reason why our asexuality must have been caused by something so that it can be regarded as a shortcoming, as a sickness, as an illness, as something that should be addressed, and that if something specific hadn't happened to us to cause this, quote, problem, that we would be like everyone else and that would be preferable. I get really tired of people making these weird proclamations that, well, maybe this is what happened to you. Maybe this is what caused that issue. Maybe this is how you were abused or poisoned or affected or any number of things. They just fundamentally don't see asexuality as a thing that can just be someone's normal. That's how it has always felt to me. That's how a lot of ace people feel. And there's no reason to keep digging around trying to find an explanation that you can frame as a detrimental effect that you experienced, and that you're now suffering from some kind of ill effects from it. Ugh, gross. And let's see. Oh, people are profiting from your sexual orientation, t-shirts, workshops, and donations. I mean, if you make a t-shirt or run a workshop or accept donations for an organization, why not? What's wrong with that? I already went into that. How does broadcasting your sexual preference to the world fit into your hierarchy of needs? I care about people. I think I'm making the world a better place by giving people this information and goofing around about some of the ignorance that we all deal with. And I think that I featured this one, even though it's not a super common perspective that someone will come in and say, you're asexual because of something in the water, or you're pretending to be asexual because you want to make money. Those aren't things that we super hear a lot, right? Like, they're not on the top 10, but they're tied to stuff that is in the top 10. They're tied to assumptions about people being sick or that somebody wants to be special. And I think the really notable thing about this commenter was how many different negative things that they said about what I'm doing here. It really felt like they were just trying to say as many negative things as they could so that I would feel like my message wasn't important or didn't deserve to be here. And that's really common, when somebody first encounters something like asexuality and then they feel threatened that they're going to have to accept some new thing that just doesn't sound right to them, or they're confused by what we're saying it is, or they mistake it, like this person said, as abstinence, and that we don't need any special attention for being abstinent. I feel like this person just kind of swirled around aimlessly, trying to take stabs at various poorly thought out explanations or insults, just hoping one would stick. If you really think about what could be the motivation of a person who says this many different things, that they can't have possibly sat there and spent really any appreciable time thinking about our situation or any of our goals in activism. They're just here, they see a video, they're like, oh, I have no use for this in my life, so I've got to make crappy comments. The end goal is silence. That is a person that was trying to stop me from feeling like I should be here and that I should be speaking at all. And if you ever run into that in your life, which I'd be interested to hear from any commenters who have ever experienced this, sometimes you get into a conversation with someone who just starts leaping from explanation to explanation, and some of them are real wild, like, this person saying there's something in the water that's causing it. And a lot of things like that, that's not a provable claim, right? It's not something that either that commenter or I could go out and prove or disprove. And, I don't know, you just sometimes run into people who are trying to say so many ridiculous things in a row that you'll just feel like overwhelmed, and you'll be like, oh, there's so many objections, there's so many arguments against what I'm doing, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I should stop talking, or maybe I just should make sure that this particular person doesn't have to encounter my information or have to have conversations with me about this, that they want to opt out, so they just start dumping crap all over you, hoping that it'll shut you up. And sometimes I have experienced that in person. It's been a few times where I've scarcely gotten a decent attempt to address the first ridiculous thing that they said out of my mouth before they interrupt me to say another one, and it's not even related, and they truly think that they're dropping wisdom, or that they're saying things that I must not have thought of, or that nobody's thought of before. They're just so educated and logical about something that they literally have not thought about before now. And we're supposed to consider their opinion to be equal to ours, or to be worthy of debate. It's very silly, which is why you may have noticed that my response was very flippant. I made no attempt to be polite to the person. I was just like, wow, this is silly. You have said very silly things, and you should think about why. With that, I think I'm gonna wrap this one up, and we'll see you next month with another letter. Thanks for watching. Bye!